Hello, I'm Rory Dairy. Played at Oregon from 86 to 90. Defensive back, corner, safety, linebacker, wherever the coach put me.
Rory Dairy. I recruited Rory Dairy in, I'm going to say the winter of 87 or 86. I'm not sure what year it was, but Rory was always one of my favorites. Maybe because I recruited him, where he came from. And, once he got on the field and proved that he could be a player, he did a lot of really good things. But I'm always very proud of what Rory did and how he gave back to the community, and I think is still giving to Oregon.
He was our team captain our senior year, and we came in together, UI together, had a lot of good times.
It's an outstanding player, strong safety, very likable person. Everybody liked Milk D, Rory Dairy. He was a great player, good friend of mine.
Every year on Facebook, I get my birthday greeting from Rory Dairy. So, no, Rory's always been one of my favorites.
Eugene King, he used to wear number 3, and he didn't play much. And at the time, Coach gave me a number 48 of all numbers. Number 48, for real, Coach? Anyway, he gave me number 48, and that was the number I did not want. And I said, Coach, I don't know if I want to play number 48, man. That's just not me. And he said, what number do you want? I said, I want number 3. He said, you got to ask Pat Conrad. So I asked Pat Conrad, and he was like, well, Eugene King has that number, and he's a senior, so you got to see what's going on maybe next year. Eugene King said, hey, I tell you what, you can have number 3. I'm not doing anything with it. He said, but hey, I'm going to tell you, number 3 is going to be a great number. I'm telling you, man, it's going to go down in history for Oregon. I thought it was me, but Joey Harrington, I'm going to talk to you, man, when I see you with that number 3 jersey. The uniform that we usually wore that year, with the big old nets, of course I played a few games, nothing underneath, no t-shirt, no anything, just trying to go out there, being all good and cool, hey, That day I put on a thermo t-shirt, sweat type hoodie, everything. But, it was the coldest day of my life. And, one of the memories that come out, we went out to the club, myself, Latin Berry, Derek Horton, and Derek LaBelle. And we came across a few Tulsa players, and they were looking at us, and these guys were about 6'4", just looking like linebackers, like the Incredible Hulk. And they were like, hey, we play for Tulsa and everything. We're like, yeah, we're going to kick you guys' butt, come to, game time. And those guys were like, yeah, what position you play? And so Derek Horton said, what position you guys play? Just with an arrogant look. And they said, we play safety. We looked at these big old guys, and we was like, oh, Lord. We played running back. So, man, we've never seen some big guys in our lives, man. These guys were huge. They stayed in the weight room at Tulsa camp, and they kind of made us look at each other like we better hit them as hard as we can, because these guys were like big, Incredible Hulk looking safeties looking at us, talking about they play free safety, and I'm barely not even 6 feet at the time. I'm just like, oh God. Well, like I said, my godfather, Robin Cole, played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. His brother, Dennis, was the one that handed me black high-top cleats that I ended up in practice with. The guys were poking fun because they looked like, they called them the Little Rascal shoes. I guess Buck used to wear some high-top black shoes and the Little Rascals, but the guys, we always used to joke and everything. And so the shoes, they look pretty nice out there. And the guys were like, oh yeah, I like that little, throwback look. And so went back to the hotel, and a couple of the guys and I got together, Latin Berry and Daryl Reed and a few other guys, Shane Kessler. And he said, hey, let's paint the shoes black, man. Let's go for it. We're like, okay. So we went ahead and we spoke to other guys such as, Andy Sania, Todd Napu, man, Smurns, all of them. And I think it was, like you said, Dave Casano, because, he kind of was in our group too. He passed the buck on saying, hey, we're going black shoes. This is what we're going to do. And we said, do not bring them out because, Coach Brooks, he's real conservative and he would have our butt. And he didn't even want us to really practice in those shoes because they're our game shoes. So anyway, we wait to the last minute, the day before the game, kept them in the locker room, went out there, warmed up and everything, and put them on. And we thought we were going to look good going out there to pregame in our black shoes. Well, we get back into the locker room, and man, I tell you, I'd never seen fire and ice come out of this guy's eyes and head. And he was beet red. This was right before the game, and he said he was going to bench a few players, and he was just livid. He said, some of the things I can't even say on camera, but he was just livid. And he told us we better get out there and win this game. And I mean, you guys is just so, disobedient with this, and I can't believe you. And we just get out there and win the game. And I believe it was one of the guys, Casal, saying, hey, coach, we're going to go out there and win this game. But we get to wear the shoes, right? So we ended up going out there with the shoes on and everything. And, needless to say, at the end of the game, Coach, we were all happy and jumping around in the locker room, and Coach was just, ecstatic for us, and, we all, tears of joy. I think one of the players raised his hands and was like, Coach, does this mean we get black shoes next year? And man, the coach was like, yeah, we get black shoes next year in the whole locker room. I mean, it was a great feeling right there because, we had done something as a team, kind of, to unify the team and everything. And it all came from them poking fun of my little black high top shoes that I wore, but it worked out. Next year we had all black shoes, and the team just seemed to come together as a true family. No, I would give that to Daryl Reed. He painted his green. No, but collectively, I think it was just one of those things. If you really want to look at it, I look at it as the fact that we came together and unified, and we had a voice as players, and the coaches, just they gave us a chance to be a part of it. Well, the team's attitude going into that, we totally, felt for the fans. The previous year, when we lost to BYU, we were helpless. I think Coach Brooks mentioned in the locker room at halftime, hey, you got to play through it. He said, I hope you would never hear me say this again, but we're being cheated, so just play through it. And we looked at Coach like, wow, that's not Coach Brooks. And so we knew then that, hey, just go all out. That BYU game, there was some strange calls, to say the least. I know Peter Bradley got, I think, a roughing, he got a holding,
He's still mad.
and roughing the pass, something like that. Well, he knocked the running back down and sacked the quarterback, and they called pass interference or something weird on that play.
Yeah.
and one of the strangest calls, and I know Steve Kemp was really brokenhearted because we had a third and long, and we're up a few points there to, kind of ice the game, and he kind of got beat on a post play. And I think that really set real bad in his heart and his gut for a long time. So, and we had no, help from the fans because they were not there. And so we really felt for the fans because when we got back to Eugene, you can just see the pain in their heart because that was a game that we should have won. We knew we should have won, but we couldn't overcome that adversity whatsoever. So we owe the fans, number one. Two, we definitely owe BYU, because we got flat out cheated. And so going into that game the next year, you can feel the energy from the fans. We had a great game plan. We had some guys with some just personal agendas that needed to get, worked out, especially, and I'm saying that to you, Steve Kemp, because I know how you felt. And a lot of other guys that played in that game. And then, of course, personally, I had a concussion that game, the first game. And I got scored on, I believe. No, I didn't get scored on. They ran a nice little pass play, and I had no clue. when they finally scored the touchdown, that's when I looked around. I said something to Chris Odom, like, what happened? He said they just scored on us, man. I was like, who just scored on us? Chris Odom said, Coach, get him out the game. This guy doesn't know what's going on. I was done. So like about 4 to 5 plays prior to that is when I suffered a concussion. So I was on the sideline for probably about the last like 2 series before halftime. And again, like I said, that was a game that I had personal vengeance for, and to make sure that we just came out victorious. So we ran a nickel pretty much the entire time. We knew that Ty was just one of those guys that just, he wanted to be, the man. Ty Detmer was going to go out, either, throwing that ball around. So when we went into that game, we owed it to the fans. The fans were just loud. We couldn't even hear our play call, so that's when we turned to signals. The bracket signal, the sky, the cloud. We just had hand gestures that had our communication going, because even our own crowd had messed it up for us. So, but it worked out pretty well, because that game plan that we had, it was like we had mapped that from the beginning of the year. We knew what we were going to do to those guys before it happened, and for it to just unfold and unveil for the fans and the public eye to see. That was one of the most put together game plans I've ever had. One that stands out, this was the funniest play I ever had. I think it was, I don't know, Idaho State or one of the schools. I was supposed to be blitzing on the play. Well, I tried to blitz. I hit the hole real hard, I thought I did, but 2 of the linemen just showed me that was the big boys' territory. So, man, they knocked me back about 5 yards, and I turned and was going to pick another hole to blitz in, and the ball just comes right at me. So, that's when I intercepted that ball, and it was like I went 68 yards for a touchdown. But the crowd loved it. Everybody was like, "Oh, that was a great play, great play, awesome play." And coach get to the sideline, "Yeah, that's awesome. How come you didn't blitz?" I said, "Coach, I tried to blitz." That was funny to me, man, because he was like, "I saw that. I saw he tried." He said, "Man, you gotta go harder than that." I said, "Coach, that's big boy territory. Keep me back there with the DBs, man." Well, we had a few tryouts and things like that. Didn't really pan out. Outside of that, I did play arena ball shortly after that. But for the main part, football, I really didn't have the love of football in me. Even all through college, the guys were the ones that made it fun. Even after college ball, I got a few phone calls to come, try out and do those things. And I played, arena football just, for a season for Sacramento Attack. Then after that, I said, I want to do some other things in my life, and that took me to the field of, the criminology field, working as a probation officer in Multnomah County, Wells Fargo for 18 years. And those are the things, just giving back, helping people. And then I even returned to Oregon, as an academic advisor for all the student athletes. The fun part for me, and where the most passion comes is helping others and, just kind of giving them the opportunity, to avoid a lot of the obstacles and, sidestep the pitfalls and adversity. Because, looking back, a lot of people, reach back and help me, make it through, because, as a man, as a person, you don't have all answers, and it really takes, different spokes in the wheel to help that work out for you. 1,000,000%. Me and the guys always talk about that. Number one, we talked about if we had that offense, how great we would have been. And we talked about the facility in itself, the uniforms. The guys don't even realize, like I mentioned to you earlier, the game of Frogger that we used to have to play coming across Centennial Boulevard, now known as Martin Luther King Boulevard. But with our practice facility being on the other side of that big, busy street, we seriously have to play Frogger coming from practice with our helmet and shoulder pads and hands avoiding traffic, avoiding, if you run across the street and you drop the glove, bye-bye glove. Let that glove go. Go talk to Pat Conrad or somebody or Kenny. Hey, can I please have another glove? Because it's in the middle of MLK right now. I'm not going. These guys don't realize that. And the facilities and things like that. Coach Radcliffe can attest to it. I mean, indoor, outdoor facilities to train with. We ran the ramp of Autzen Stadium. The outside ramp, the ones that the fans go, we practiced on that, going up the hill, down the hill. We ran the stadium bleachers. We did those things. Once was the parking lot. That was our practice little facility in the off season. So, these guys do have it, made. You watch that, what is that, AT&T Universe commercial where they're like, the kids are like, you have it made now. I'm saying to you guys, you have it made. It's laid out. There's no way to not be successful. That vision that they had back then is there. It's there, and it's great because when I went to Oregon, they envisioned all of these things, and to see it unfold and unveil is great. However, I will state that we're supposed to have a dome, and we need to talk to those guys. And I know a lot of my guys want to talk to Coach and all you guys about that dome that y'all talked us into.